So I got another text from Ray, and she said, Paden, you're kind of only medium interesting, and we want you to bring in somebody that's super interesting. And so I brought Emily here today because we got all the best stats for the month of June going into July. So let's talk about the numbers that June are showing, where the market currently is at, and let's just blabber a little bit in general. So my name is Paden, I'm Clancy Fairbanks.
I'm Emily Jensen.
And let's talk about it. Emily, tell us about interest rates and kind of where the market's at right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really great question. The biggest thing is, what are your interest rates? And the thing is, it really depends on your situation. I can tell you what we're hearing a lot of is the government coming in and increasing the rates for everyone. These are called loan level price adjusters, and it depends on credit, down payments, what loan type you're doing. So there's so many factors, but what they're talking about is it really has not made a big difference. And what that has actually done has improved for people to be able to get lower interest rates. So it's actually done the opposite for a lot of people that we help. It just really depends on their scenario. And it does not affect government loans. So I think just not listening to the media and coming to us as professionals just to say, hey, I got a question for you, and we're happy to explain that, but everyone's scenario is so different. You and I could be buying the same house with the same down payment. Our credit scores might be different. We might be doing different loan programs, and so it's just really very unique to the situation.
Basically, everybody wants you to think that it's a really simple thing, but you don't know an answer until you talk to a lender.
I think that's a great thing to point out because when you're going to people, I think going to a loan officer, you're just going to get, here's your rate, here's the program. When you come to someone like me that's an advisor, we're going to look at every scenario, every grant program you qualify for, every down payment assistance program, whether you have a down payment or not, and then say, here are your options. You might get overloaded, but you're going to be really happy that you have choices.
I do want to spend a moment. That's your goal really with using anybody in the real estate industry, whether it's a loan officer, whether it's a real estate agent. You don't want somebody that's telling you what to do. You want somebody that you can explain your situation to and they can advise you the best solution for your situation. If anybody's treating anything that you're doing as if it's simple, you need to talk to somebody else. What we're trying to do here is we just want to explain the market in general, talk about mortgage interest rates and stuff like that, but especially when we want to talk about the stats and the numbers behind what everybody's talking about. Because everybody, all they want to do nowadays is blabber about how complicated and how hard and how scary things are. And they don't give you numbers and stats. So you want to start out with some stats? Let's start out with some stats. For the state of Utah, year over year, home values have decreased 5%. And then for the year of 2023, home values have increased 10%. That's from January 1st to June, the last day of June, home values increased by 10%. I don't bring you this up to make you feel like you need to go buy a home right now and freak out and do all this stuff, but you have to understand the market isn't what everybody is advertising it as. How do you feel about that, Emily? What do you think about that?
I agree. I really think that the media is really portraying the market to be a negative when it's a huge positive. Paden, when you gave me those stats, it blew me away that just since January, there's counties within Utah that have gained appreciation of 10%. So when we talked earlier, we talked about you're seeing billboards all over about investing in CDs. So let's say you take $20,000 of your own cash, put it into a CD, you're getting 4-point-something%, which is super fantastic. But think about taking that $20,000, purchasing a home, borrowing the other amount, 95%, and then gaining 10% within 6 months. That's crazy. So really, you're borrowing money to be able to advance your financial future. I don't know a better way that you can gain that much. And then also the benefits that come with just being able to reside in your asset.
That was a huge conversation we were just talking about before we walked in here was if you're renting and you decide that you want to switch the paint colors on your walls or get a dog or any of that, you have to ask so many people. And there's a huge chance always within 30 days that they could kick you out of your apartment. Now, we're not trying to hyperbolate all of this and make it seem like everybody's dying, but you have to fundamentally understand that the real estate market, if you're able to buy a home and live in it 7 to 10 years, be able to have a mortgage payment that's super manageable, and then on top of that, try to get a home at a little bit of a discount, especially at this moment in time, it creates a lot of opportunities that we haven't seen since 2009 and 2010. Everybody's freaking out right now about mortgage payments and it's impossible to get a mortgage payment, but I can guarantee you when Emily started back in 2008, and people were getting paid $750 an hour, and they were trying to qualify for how expensive of homes?
I mean, $100,000 homes, it was still a challenge.
I think one of the largest things people don't realize is that there's always difficulties trying to buy homes, and that doesn't change. So if you do want to try to buy a home, whether it's in 1 month or 10 years, talking to somebody and making a plan is just always a doable thing. So your days on market for the month of June of 2023 is 21, meaning that it's down 2 days, showing that there's more demand in the market. On top of that, your median list to sold value is still at 98%, the same as 1 month earlier than that, showing that sellers have really realistic expectations for what they're selling their homes for. Are you starting to still see a lot of seller concessions, because you deal with a lot of transactions, more transactions than me in a month?
Yeah, that's a great question. So definitely people are benefiting from purchasing in this market. And that's one thing that Paden and I also discuss on weekly, sometimes several times a week, is just helping our clients understand what their purchase power is and buying in this market. So right now, with interest rates being higher, you have a lot of people sitting on the fence waiting for the rates to go down. So right now in Utah, with inventory being so low, really people want to be able to purchase. They're just waiting for the right opportunity. When I meet with clients and do consultations, it's really putting together a plan. And that doesn't mean that as soon as we meet, they're going to be able to go out, find a home, make an offer, and close in 30 days. That means we're going to come up with a plan that best suits their situation, but also that they're comfortable with and understand. But I think the biggest thing is understanding what is going on and having the information. When the Fed meets later this month, they did not increase the rate last month, so they're going off of data off of the last 60 days. What you need to understand is that once unemployment goes up, people are going to spend less money. So that's when inflation will go down. When inflation goes down, that's when the interest rates will drop. If you're trying to time it right, chances are once the rates go down, you're too late. So it really is just coming up with a game plan, and I'm all about it's going to be a certain house that makes you want to move, that speaks to you. And so just being prepared and ready for when that opportunity arises.
This is our first video. If you have any suggestions, comment it down below on what you think we should be trying to put inside of this. On top of that, you have to understand just the general facts right now, that inventory is up right now, but on top of that, demand is higher as well. We're seeing that demand is starting to go up and more homes are starting to sell. And specifically, that median home sold value is actually going up as well. And then that median list of sold value is starting to level out. So any of those expectations that home values are going to decrease by another 10%, absolutely, it's always a possibility. I bought a home right now. Emily was my lender, so we don't feel like that's going to happen. We could 100% be wrong, and you should expect us to be wrong. Interest rates are right in the middle of the sixes, and the expectations are nobody has any idea where they're going, but the second that they do go down, it's going to be harder. It's going to be more competitive to try to buy a home than it is even now. What do you think about all that? What is your rundown?
You know, I am all about figuring out what your situation is. So even with interest rates, locking in a loan, looking at it over 30 years, that can be super, super scary. And I think really just getting started to find out where you're at and where you need to be is a big step. So that's what we're here for, is just to educate you throughout the whole process.
Cool. Well, that's all we've got for you today. We really appreciate you watching. If you do want to schedule an appointment with us, the link will be in the description below. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and bye-bye now.
Bye!